Here.
Commissioner Oliva? Commissioner Pham?
Here.
Commissioner Wu?
Present.
Vice Chair Benninger?
Present.
Chair Ramos? Chair, quorum has been reached at 5:33 p.m.
Thank you. We please everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Woe, would you please lead us? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to remind my fellow commissioners to turn off your mics, or turn your mics on when you're speaking and off when you're not. And when speaking, please place the microphone about 4 inches away from you. Thank you. Members of public may attend the Planning Commission meeting either in person or virtually via Zoom. I will now invite the Commission Secretary to describe how the public can access and participate in this meeting.
This meeting is being live streamed via our portal at www.santa-ana.primegov.com/public/portal and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/City of Santa Ana videos. If you would like to provide public comment, you may do so in the following ways. Join the meeting via Zoom, enter the meeting ID number 839225183110. When the item you wish to comment on is being discussed, please select the hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. Once called upon, remember to unmute yourself and state your name for the record. You can also join the meeting by calling 669-900-6833. Enter meeting ID number 839225183110. When the item that you would like to comment on is being discussed, press 9 to let us know you would like to speak. You will be called upon by the last 3 digits of your phone number. After you are called upon, you may press 6 to unmute yourself. For those who are attending this meeting in person and would like to provide public comment, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the recording secretary. All speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. I will alert you when your time is up.
Thank you. Moving on to public comments on non-agenda or non-public hearing issues. Secretary, does anyone wish to speak?
If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items, please select the hand icon to let us know you would like to comment. If you are calling in and would like to comment on non-agenda or non-public hearing items, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we did receive 1 public comment through email, which has been distributed to the commission and posted online for public record, but we do not have any public speakers in-house or through Zoom.
Very good. I see our chair has shown up, so I'm going to turn this over to her.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Looks like we're on consent calendar items. So moving on to the consent calendar, where will be 1 motion for all consent items, unless an item is pulled for separate discussion. Is there a motion to approve item A?
I move.
Thank you, Commissioner Wood.
Second.
And we have a second from Vice Chair Benninger. Secretary, can you please call for a roll call vote?
Commissioner Escamilla? Commissioner Leo?
Aye.
Commissioner Oliva? Commissioner Pham?
Aye.
Commissioner Wu?
Aye.
Vice Chair Benninger?
Aye.
Chair Ramos?
Aye.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Escamilla and Commissioner Oliva absent.
That concludes the consent calendar items. Now we're moving on to the public hearing. I will now review the process for the public hearing so that everyone knows what to expect. Staff will provide a presentation and answer questions from the commission. The public hearing will be opened. The applicant will be given the opportunity to speak, limited to 15 minutes. Members of the public will be given the opportunity to comment, limited to 3 minutes. The applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to comments made by the public, limited to 5 minutes. The public hearing will be closed. Discussion will return to the commission with formal action taken to approve, deny, or continue review of the application. Please consider the following suggestions when organizing your comments. Please state your name and address, strictly voluntary. State whether you support, oppose, or are neutral of the proposal. Your statement should include all pertinent facts within your knowledge. Please note, decisions on these matters are final unless appealed within 10 days by any interested individual or party. Recommendations on these matters will be forwarded to the City Council at a later date for final determination. I will now be taking item 4, which is site plan review number 2026-01 and density bonus agreement number 2026-01 for the property located at 2101 East 4th Street, located within the professional P zone and within the Metro East mixed-use overlay zone. Out of order. The item is being recommended to be continued to a special meeting scheduled for May 28th, 2026. Before we move to vote to continue the matter, procedurally, we need to open the public hearing to take public comment on the item. The public hearing is now open. Recording Secretary, have we received any written communication, or is there a member of the public that would like to comment on this item?
Chair, we have received a total of 2 emails in the form of public comments for this item before the 3:30 p.m. deadline, which has been distributed to the commission and posted online. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we do not have any speakers.
Thank you. The public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to continue this matter to the special meeting scheduled on May 28th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. in this council chamber?
I make that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion from Vice Chair Benninger. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a second from Commissioner Leo.
For permit 2026-08.
-01, correct. We are continuing item number 4. Secretary, can you please call for a roll call vote?
Commissioner Benninger,
Aye.
Commissioner Escamilla, Commissioner Leo,
Aye.
Commissioner Pham,
Aye.
Commissioner Wu,
Aye.
Commissioner Oliva, Chair Ramos.
Aye.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Escamilla and Commissioner Oliva absent.
Thank you. Now I will continue to go a bit out of order. We're going to move on to item 3. This is the time and place for conditional use permit number 2025-16 for the property located at 2000 East Sandpoint Avenue, located within the specific development SD number 76 zoning district. Before we begin, do any commissioners have anything they wish to disclose with regard to this item? I will disclose that I received a call from the Carpenters Union, and I also received an email from the consultant for the applicant. The case planner, Nancy Tran, will provide a brief presentation.
Well, I also received it, but I didn't, from a consultant, but I don't answer.
Sorry, just for the record, it seems like Commissioner Wu also made a disclosure. Commissioner Wu shared that he also received contact by the consultant for the applicant. Do any other commissioners have any disclosures they would like to make?
Yes, the consultant did reach out to ask if I wanted to meet.
Thank you. Commissioner Pham also received contact from the consultant for the applicant. Vice Chair Benninger or Commissioner Leo?
I received the same communication but didn't answer.
They didn't like me, I got no such calls.
Thank you. The case planner, Nancy Tran, will provide a brief, well, actually, it looks like Commissioner Escamilla is joining us at 5:43 PM. Commissioner Escamilla, we are on item number 3, the conditional use permit number 2025-16 for the property located at 2000 East Sandpoint Avenue. We just made our disclosures. Several commissioners were contacted by the consultant.
Yeah, I would like to disclose, I did meet with the project architect and consultant last Thursday or Friday, so I'll need an ex parte form.
Thank you. It looks like several commissioners may need an ex parte form. And with that, the case planner, Nancy Tran, will provide a brief presentation.
Well, if you didn't contact them, for clarity, you didn't talk to them. I mean, had I say get lost, if you can't get your act together before the meeting and you can't make a presentation at the publicly, then I would have responded, right? But I didn't even answer.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. With the secretary and planning staff can follow up with each of us individually to see whether or not we need to fill out an ex parte form. Our case planner, Nancy Tran, can now begin with her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. The item before you is an application for conditional use permit number 2025-16 for property located at 200 East Sandpoint Avenue, located in Ward 4. The project seeks CUP approval to construct a mixed-use development consisting of 400 units, including 20 extremely low-income affordable units equal to 5%, and 13,887 square feet of ground floor commercial. The project qualifies as a housing development project subject to Senate Bill 330. Staff recommends that the Commission adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 2025-16 for the construction of a mixed-use residential and commercial development with ground floor commercial uses as conditioned. The subject property's general plan designation is District Center Medium Low DC 1.5. It's within the Hutton Center Mixed Use Specific Development District, also known as SD 76, and subzoned Zone 1. Surrounding land uses include multifamily residential, office and restaurant to the north, hotel and surface parking east, manufacturing, wholesale, warehouse, office, and parking garage south, and single-family residential across Main Street to the west. The project site includes 4 parcels totaling 5.37 acres. To give a clearer picture of the context, here are photos of the property, one at the intersection of Sandpoint and Main along the western side of the development, also an aerial view of the entire project site from the same intersection, and at Sandpoint and Hutton Center along the northeast corner. With respect to the site background, the 4 parcels were developed circa 1981 as an 8-story office building with surface parking. The building has been continuously occupied by a range of professional office tenants, including real estate, law, financial, administrative, and architectural firms. In July 2005, Council adopted ordinance number NS 2690, rezoning the subject property and others from General Commercial C2 zoning district to SD 76 with 2 distinct subzones. Zone 1, which allows for limited retail, services, restaurants, and prohibits multifamily residential, and Zone 2, which allows multifamily residential and select commercial retail with the CUP. The subject project site land use designation is DC 1.5, District Center Medium Low, allowing both residential and non-residential development. For the site zoning, SD 76 Zone 1, where the project site is located, does not include objective residential design standards and does not permit the proposed project. As a result, the project was submitted under SB 330 as a housing development project, permitting mixed-use residential development consistent with the general plan without rezoning. For objective standards, the city looked to SD 76 Zone 2 as the nearest comparable multifamily district, which allows residential and compatible commercial uses through a CUP and aligns with the DC 1.5 designation scale and intensity. This project qualifies as a housing development project under SB 330 because it includes residential and mixed-use components. with at least 2/3 of the floor area devoted to residential use. It's therefore covered by the Housing Crisis Act's streamlined review and protection provisions. SB 330, extended by SB 8 in 2022 and made permanent by AB 130 in 2025, restricts new non-objective standards, limits discretionary hearings, and prohibits actions that reduce housing capacity. The city deemed the project's SB 330 preliminary application complete on November 27, 2024, which confirmed the project's eligibility and vested rights protections under SB 330. The applicant will separately seek City Council approval of a density bonus agreement to formalize the affordable housing commitments and applicable development standards. It does not request a numerical density bonus, incentive concession, or waiver from development standards under state density bonus law. The project uses reduced parking ratios allowed under California Government Code Section 65915P. However, this does not constitute a request for a concession, incentive, or waiver. Therefore, no planning commission action is required for the density bonus agreement. The project proposes 400 market rate rental residential units, 5% or 20 units affordable at extremely low income level, 13,887 square feet of ground floor commercial, and 718 space garage along 7 levels. The project proposed phase development. For phase 1, the office building will be retained, while the adjacent surface lot is developed to construct 224 units, 5,818 square feet of commercial, and the parking garage. In phase 2, the office building will be demolished to construct the remaining 176 units and 8,069 square feet of commercial. Overall site improvements include 85,960 square feet of open space, a rooftop amenity deck which includes a pool, spa, club room, fitness, and outdoor seating, public plazas with outdoor seating, a business lounge, dogs, park, spa, game area, and dining areas, and 4 parallel parking spaces along Sandpoint Avenue. As mentioned in the previous slide, the applicant proposes a 2-phase mixed-use development. This slide shows phase 1 located on the western portion of the site, which includes redevelopment of the surface parking lot with 224 apartment units, 5,818 square feet of ground floor commercial space, and a structured parking facility while retaining the existing 8-story office building. This slide shows phase 2 located on the eastern portion of the site, which includes demolition of the existing office building and construction of 176 apartment units and 8,069 square feet of commercial space. These are renderings of the project. The top is at the Sandpoint and Main Street intersection, and the bottom is the Main Street elevation facing northeast. These are additional renderings from Main Street. The top is the entire west elevation in its entirety, and the bottom is at the southwest corner viewing west and south elevations. These are images along Sandpoint Avenue, including a close-up of the Western Retail Plaza. The top 2 images are additional Sandpoint renderings as you approach Hutton Center Drive, and the bottom is at the site's southeast corner at the loading and residential-only vehicle access. This is the amenity deck at the level 7 towards the interior of the property. And the bottom image is a transverse section of the various levels along the east, facing west. Here's the conceptual landscape plan showing trees throughout the development. The project replaces underutilized office and parking with housing and commercial spaces, supporting nearby businesses. Its scale and massing are compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, providing a transition between adjacent residential, office, and industrial uses. Its 7-level parking structure is set back more than 60 feet behind residential and commercial frontages to minimize its visual impact. The project's quality architecture, landscaping, and lighting will improve the public realm to create a vibrant streetscape, and conditions of approval will require a parking survey and parking management plan with measures such as permits, time limits, overflow access, and enforcement to proactively address any neighborhood parking impacts. Staff work with the applicant to ensure the project's design is context-sensitive, compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, and satisfies conditional use permit findings under SAMC Section 41-638. The project conforms with the DC 1.5 scale and intensity and complies fully with the SD 76 Zone 2 objective standards. As an SB 330 project, a project complying with objective general plan and zoning standards can only be denied if it poses a specific unmitigable impact on public health or safety. The project meets the city's affordable housing ordinance by providing 20 on-site, extremely low-income units, expanding access to affordable housing opportunities. The affordable units are dispersed throughout the development, consisting of 1 studio, 14 one-bedrooms, and 5 two-bedroom units ranging from 576 to 1,115 square feet. The developer's inclusionary housing plan has been reviewed and approved by the city's housing division, confirming consistency with local affordability requirements. With respect to the general plan, the project is consistent with the DC 1.5 designation, transforming an underutilized site into a high-quality mixed-use development with housing, commercial space, and open space compatible with surrounding uses. It supports jobs housing balance by introducing new residential units and ground floor commercial uses within a job-rich area near existing employment centers. It promotes walkable, pedestrian-oriented development with active ground floor uses, landscape public spaces, and enhanced connections within the surrounding district. It incorporates context-sensitive design, including articulated facades, appropriate building massing, screened parking, and generous landscaping to ensure compatibility with nearby development. It also advances general plan goals for urban reinvestment, housing diversity, and economic vitality by creating a vibrant mixed-use urban node with public plazas and an active street frontage. The project was subject to the city's Sunshine Ordinance, requiring 2 community meetings to support early public participation. Across the meetings held, participants raised questions and concerns regarding parking potential spillover and management, traffic and circulation, affordability, construction impacts and phasing, project features, architectural design, retail, and the entitlement process. In accordance with CEQA and the CEQA guidelines, the project is exempt from further review under Section 15183, as it's consistent with the general plan where redevelopment impacts were adequately analyzed in the 2022 general plan EIR. The project is also exempt under Section 15162, as it falls within the prior program's EIR scope with no substantial changes to the project, circumstances, or new information requiring subsequent or supplemental EIR. Based on this analysis, the Notice of Determination, Environmental Review Number 2024-45, will be filed for this project. There's no fiscal impact associated with this project. Staff recommends that the Commission adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 2025-16 for the construction of a mixed-use residential and commercial development with ground floor commercial uses as condition. This concludes my presentations, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Does the commission have any comments or questions for staff? Commissioner Wu.
The public asked a question about entitlement. What is the entitlement concern there?
They were asking about the process.
The process?
The process.
Oh, okay. This is on existing property owned by someone, right?
Correct.
And all they're doing is modifying that to be, they're knocking down their own office building to provide affordable housing, right?
Partial affordable housing, 400
Yeah,
units, that includes
okay.
affordable housing.
Can we go to slide 32? That's not what I was looking at. I want to look at, yeah, that picture. I'm having trouble picturing where the development is, so can you use your arrow to point out?
It's this entire area.
Okay, and is there any housing along the street on the other side?
Yes, there's housing right here.
Oh, that's going to be knocked down?
No, this
No.
building will be knocked down.
Oh, that's knocked down, most of the development there, and then along the avenue, right?
Yes.
There'll be housing on both sides of the avenue.
Yes,
Okay, and you mitigated the ingress and egress along the street there?
there will be access along Sandpoint and then on Hutton Center Drive.
Okay, I want to understand a little more about the relationship. The developer, the owner couldn't do this project until there were new legislation adopted at the state level, right?
That's correct.
Can we see that slide to kind of just go over it again for clarity? So the first thing, so it has to qualify as a housing development project under the Senate Bill 330, right?
Yes,
That you can include residential with mixed use.
yes,
So now it is conforming with that. Okay. Although in the original general plan, that was not designated in that area, right?
no, the general plan does allow for residential and commercial.
Oh, okay. Now, under the Government Code Section 65583-5, .5, due to the Housing Crisis Act 2019, right, it allowed you to streamline the process,
Correct.
okay? And then Senate Bill 330 and extended by SB 8 in 2028 made permanent AB 130.
Yes,
And that means that it restricts new non-objective standards, limit discretionary hearings, and prohibit actions that reduce housing capacity. Which, what I read that is meaning that subjective standards used by people in the community, such as I don't like it, or I don't like the color, or there's just too much housing, too much traffic, too much noise, and I'm concerned about this and that, does not matter, right?
that's correct.
Okay, that's not my opinion, I'm just looking at the law, okay? The city deemed the SB 330 preliminary application complete, which means staff did its job to check all the legal points and make sure the developer understand what they do and they must do for that. So in terms of what it looks like, I don't see a village there. I see some housing, but I don't see the public square kind of concept. Is there a picture that will help me to understand that that is going to be provided? You know, where you live and shop and move around?
So all the commercial is along Sandpoint, and there will be public plazas here and here.
Okay, so there is some, not a lot, but there is some there, right?
Yes,
Okay. So the livability of that is that this developer had chosen to reduce office spaces and make them more residential. Is that reflective of the marketplace where office space now is not as desirable and not as marketable? And so owners are now switching over to housing?
that's correct.
Okay. So otherwise, if we can't do that, then they just sit there with a lot of empty offices, right? Okay. Thank you very much. I just want to clarify that so I can understand in my mind why the state law supersedes our local law, what we did to adjust for that. And this did not happen overnight. It's been going on for like at least 2 years, right? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Do we have any other questions or comments for staff? Commissioner Pham, go ahead.
Just a few, and then we can rotate. So I saw in the staff report that there is no objective standard for the required open space. We typically see multifamily developments try to meet a certain open space ratio. So if that's the case, is it just whatever the developer is proposing as open space, and we're not comparing it to any existing standards?
That's correct. In SD 76 Zone 2, they did not have any standards for open space.
So comparatively, if this was developed with under our current development standards for projects similar to the scale and scope, are they meeting the open space requirement, or are they over, under, objectively?
I don't have that information at the top of my head, but they are providing a lot more than other projects that I've seen.
Okay.
Commissioner, as someone who's worked on my fair share of development projects of this scale, I can tell you, yes, it is comparable to the other projects that have come before this commission. The units have the balconies, there's the open space areas, and the staff reports that 37% of the site area, when you do the math, is actually open space. So those numbers are largely consistent with other projects that have come before this body.
And then, like Commissioner Leo mentioned, there is a higher density project across the street, as well as we have the 2 residential apartment towers on the lower end of that general vicinity. Have we gotten any kind of post-occupancy feedback from the existing single-family on the other side of the lot, or any complaints with the existing apartments that there's been parking issues?
Commissioner, so we do have staff from Public Works here this evening that can answer questions about like street parking issues. But what I can share is back in October 2020, well, actually it was like August 2024, when the Related Bristol project came before this commission, staff actually went and did parking surveys in the multifamily projects in the south end of town and the east end of town, and found that largely speaking, the parking ratios that were required by code were exceeding what the actual parking demand was in those structures. So when staff went at all hours of the day, during weekdays and weekends, either very early morning, like 6:30, midday, evening, and late at night on weekdays and weekends, what staff found was that typically the parking ratios, again, when one entered these parking structures, more or less about half to a quarter of the spaces were unoccupied, the parking spaces. So it reflected perhaps a better calibration between the bedroom counts and the unit mixes and the actual parking that was being built in the parking structures. But if there is an inquiry about any parking impacts in like the Sandpoint neighborhood or neighborhoods across the street, I'm sure our colleagues from Public Works might have some preliminary data that they can share.
That's good, just because, it's similar, it looks similar in density. If there's no existing issue with parking, then we can assume there won't be any issue with the reduced parking ratio per state mandate. That's my point in asking. Other than that, one last comment. In terms of timing of the phasing, we saw that there's phase 1, the parking lot that's serving the office building is being developed, and then phase 2 is the building itself being removed. So during phase 1, would the office still be operational and in need of parking? How's that resolved?
Yes, it will still be operational. They do have agreements with the parking structure to the south and the parking structure to the north across of Sandpoint for parking.
Okay, perfect. That's it for me, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Pham. Vice Chair Benninger.
Yes, kind of to help you along, I did have the opportunity to talk to the president of Sandpoint Neighborhood Association, also South Coast. And Amy Fry from Sandpoint did write a letter of support for this project. They feel very good about this project. One question I do have is they believe the parking will be three slots for each one of the apartments. I didn't see that in the presentation today or in my paper, in things I read. So is there so many parking slots per unit that is being proposed for this project? If there isn't, there isn't. I was like, no, I didn't see it.
No, Vice Chair, just a matter of clarification. Are you asking for the parking ratio that's proposed for the project?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
While she's looking at that, I'm going to ask another question. Just move this along. Are these units for sale or are they for lease?
Thank you for that question, Vice Chair Benninger. As proposed, this project is a rental project.
And then I can quickly interject on the parking question. Perhaps this is helpful to staff, but I saw that the letter from the Neighborhood Association president mentioned the CBA and a parking pass program, which I don't know if that might be a part of the parking ratio answer.
I can take the question related to the parking ratio. So for the number of units, it's a ratio of 1.5 spaces.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll talk back to the neighborhood just so that they understand that, because they believe it's 3. They believe it was moved from 2 to 3.
And that ratio is consistent with what case planner Nancy Tran shared about the requirement per state law.
Okay, all right.
And Vice Chair, so there's like gross parking per unit when you do the math, and then there's actually how a management company or operator allocates the slots per unit, right? So like a studio unit may often not have a parking space or may only have 1 parking space. But remember, if it's like 1.5, then you add up the 0.5s and it means there's extra spaces available for like the 2-bedroom units, let's say. So when the public hearing opens and the developer comes up, you can ask that question about how will you allocate the parking by the units.
Well, I know the neighborhoods are happy with it, whatever the number is. I just make sure that they have the right information on that. Also, staff has put in, what I read is that there's some conditions for this approval. One of them, there'll be a parking study done within, well, it doesn't say how long of time. I know what staff's thinking about, how long before you do a parking study after completion, or what are your planning on that?
So I could take that. So typically, we'd wait for any issues to arise. So if we notice that there is a parking shortage, we'd work with the applicant to address any of the parking issues. This is because there is a couple of different overlapping state laws that limit the city's ability to require more parking. So one being what Nancy mentioned regarding the 1.5 spaces per unit. Second being, this is also within an AB 2097 area that limits the city's ability to require parking. So if there is a noticeable impact related to parking, then we'd work at that point with the applicant to develop a plan to address any of the parking impacts.
Okay, so it depends. If you get no complaints, you don't do a study.
There is also a condition of approval, number 14, that talks about within 12 months after final issuance of the occupancy permits or the finals for phase 2, parking survey needs to be submitted to the city for review. And so at that point, it would be like a check-in 12 months post-occupancy. We don't want to do these things too prematurely because half the units may be vacant, but waiting 12 months post-occupancy is usually a good timeline, both for us and the developer.
So the neighborhood suddenly has trouble with parking. Do they contact planning or public works?
They would submit the study to the planning division, but because we work very well with our colleagues in Public Works, of course, we would review it with their assistance as well.
Very good, very good. Now, you mentioned, one thing I also didn't read was all the conditions that the city's putting on this project, and you already mentioned number 14. What are the other 13?
The others include standard conditions for any changes to the project, any changes to the materials, standard condition for walls and fencing, mechanical equipment screening, and yeah, those are all standard conditions.
All standard conditions, okay. All set, thank you.
Thank you. I'll go next. So I have a few questions for both planning staff and staff from the Community Development Agency. Y'all can share them however you'd like. So my first question is on the AHOCO applicability. So the AHOCO is our inclusionary housing policy. Can you please explain which of the ordinance requirements apply here?
Because it's a rental project, and the amount of units they're providing, they could provide a minimum of 15% low, 10% very low, or 5% extremely low affordable units.
So So they're required to provide affordable housing, then either on-site or paying in lieu fee. Of the other requirements, including the labor agreements, which of any of those apply here?
Defer that to housing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only requirement in our inclusionary ordinance that applied was the 5% for extremely low-income households for this project. The developer decided to build the units on site instead of paying the in lieu fee option.
So can you please explain in greater detail exactly what that means? So because they've chosen to do 5% and extremely low, does that mean that they don't have to meet other requirements that they may have had to, had they chosen a different AMI level or a different percentage?
So the two main options, right, that the developer initially selected was either to pay the in lieu fee or to build the units on site. And so instead of deciding to pay the in lieu fee, which would have gone into our inclusionary housing fund to be used to develop and finance affordable housing elsewhere, they decided to build the units on site. And so in terms of building the units on site, they had the option to build 15% of the units for low-income households, 10% for very low-income households, or 5% for extremely low-income households, or a combination thereof that's specifically in the ordinance. And in this case, the developer decided to build 5% of the units for extremely low-income households out of the options available to them for building the units on site.
Okay, and then when, if at all, are the using union labor requirements triggered, and why weren't they triggered by this, or are they triggered by this project?
If the developer had selected to pay the in lieu fee instead of building the units on site, then the developer would have been required to use a certain percentage of union labor in compliance with the ordinance. So the specific language is that effective January 1st, 2026, union labor would have been required had the developer decided to pay the in lieu fee.
Okay, so because they're building on site, they're not required to do the union labor for the building of their units?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then a public comment mentioned a community benefits agreement that was agreed upon. Do you all have any more information on what that entails? I saw that the public comment mentioned a parking pass program and a security package.
So some developers will negotiate these directly with the neighborhood associations. That happened for the Legacy Sunflower project, which is now branded at Bloom at 651 West Sunflower. Similar concept. So when the developer comes for the public hearing, they can talk about the benefits that were negotiated as well as the background as to what went into those. Okay,
thank you. My next question is on the unit size and type of the units being being provided at this project. So I know there's 400 units, 20 of those would be affordable. I heard that the unit size for the affordable units was, I believe, 1 and 2 bedrooms. Are there any market rate units that are larger than 2 bedrooms? And if there are, why aren't any of those larger units also being provided at an affordable level?
I can answer that question. There are no units larger than 2 bedrooms in the project.
Okay, thank you. So the project as a whole only includes 1 and 2 bedroom units?
It also includes 29 studio units.
Okay, and then the 20 affordable housing units are only 1 and 2 bedrooms, or are they also studios?
There is 1 studio that was calculated proportionally and equitably in regards to the proportional distribution of the 20 affordable housing units in the project.
Thank you. And then I believe I heard this during the staff presentation, but these units are scattered throughout the project. They're not all in one area of the project, correct?
That is correct, yes. There are not only distributed proportional to the unit size and bedroom count, but also they're proportional to the phasing. So there's 11 units, affordable units that would be built in phase 1 and 9 units built in phase 2. And then those units are proportionally and equitably distributed throughout the project.
Thank you. And of the 20 units, will any of these be ADA compliant units?
I do not think so, no.
Of the 400 units, how many are ADA compliant units?
ADA gets kicked in as a requirement if a project is receiving city or public funding. If units are located on the upper floors, they're not often required to be ADA accessible. But nonetheless, if that is an interest of the commission in guaranteeing a certain amount of accessible units, that's something that could be entertained as a condition of approval.
Okay, as of now, does staff know how many, if any, of the 400 units would be considered ADA compliant, regardless of whether it has been triggered or not?
I don't have that information.
Thank you. I will ask the applicant as well. Those are all my questions. I also just wanted to share that I did see a public comment express concern that this development would include units for people with extremely low incomes, and they mentioned that this was a concern because of a nearby houses population. So I just wanted to share that we should be more concerned when we don't have extremely low income units. That's when we should have concern. These units will help prevent homelessness and houselessness, and will also give people an opportunity to get off the street. So just want to share that we should not be concerned that people with extremely low incomes may be our neighbors. Thank you. And I'll go over to Commissioner Leo.
So I've had this concern that's been coming, and I think I'm gonna have to talk it out here. My concern is that it's too many rental units. We're not building community here, we're building renters. And if you go to the northeast corner, there's condominiums. We have no entry-level housing for young professionals in the city. Was ownership contemplated by the developer? And if so, why didn't they proceed with ownership? I mean, because really rentals get you basically a transient population. Nobody stays really, really long. Maybe the affordable units, people will stay longer because it's hard to find affordable units, but ownership in general. And I don't know if we talked to the developer about ownership, especially entry-level ownership, condominiums, which is basically all we got, because every other home in Santa Ana is 700,000 plus.
If I may,
Yeah.
I just do want to remind the commission that this is the time to ask questions of staff or to clarify things from the presentation. Then you'll have an opportunity to hear from the public as to their comment and as to the applicant to ask some questions. And then you'll have the opportunity to discuss the item.
Okay, so why don't I do this? I'll ask staff. Do we have incentives in the code that incentivize developers to build ownership units instead of rentals?
Thank you, Commissioner Leo. So currently, no, the code does not. Staff is, as part of the comprehensive zoning code update, looking at building in incentives into the zoning code and then subsequent affected codes like our subdivision ordinance that would actually help incentivize applicants in submitting subdivision applications as part of multifamily or single-family housing applications, or almost always of ownership-based, but multifamily is often rental. For this project, the applicant and the city had discussed an ownership path that would have entailed a condition of approval, which is actually in the resolution as condition number 15, that would require them to come back to the commission at a future date with a subdivision map application. That was the initial path forward. following a recalibration of the project by the applicant to introduce on-site affordable units, the ones described by the case planner, the applicant shared new information with staff that they can also present during the public hearing that shed light on why doing an affordable ownership community would be difficult for them, given the nature of how their business structure is set up, the financing, the lending, and all that. So I would encourage that question to also be posed of the developer, but I will say that for this project initially, yes, staff and the applicant were moving in that direction, at least in conversation, but following the recalibration to introduce the on-site units, new information was presented that made that a little bit more complicated. Again, the public hearing is a great opportunity to discuss that.
I have one other question for staff. Utilities along Main Street, are they being undergrounded or are they already undergrounded on Main Street? In that section there of that property? Do you know? If not, I'll ask the applicant.
So any new development requires undergrounding.
Okay, thank you. Those are my only questions, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Leo. Commissioner Escamilla.
All right, let's see. I guess a few things just kind of bundled together. So we had the one slide that kind of showed the fence, and I know that for a lot of our projects, well, the fences are almost kind of afterthought, so this is probably not going to be applicable here because it's already at this phase, but I'm wondering if we're looking at any kind of additional fence requirements and standards, again, objective, but at least a little bit ornamentation, just because what people are mostly going to be seeing along Main Street, it's going to be a combination of landscape and what I imagine is going to be fairly standard, just like, 2-inch like wide, like a wrought iron fencing over there. So if there's any way that we can look at more decorative elements, especially once we start hitting kind of that 200-foot mark that we're seeing it just like this long wall, I think it's a nice opportunity to increase some variability and some just additional detailing on the fence side of things. So that's just the one observation. Because again, right now, I think it's just wrought iron all the way down Main Street. Would that be correct?
There's no fencing along Main Street, only at the southern property line. And
Oh, it's a southern property line. Okay. Oh, okay, as long as it's out of the right of way. I must have misread that visual cue then. Wondering if, and this might be more of a public works question. So what I'm seeing is that there's not really going to be that much on-street parking here, and the roadways are relatively wide. I think we're getting about average of like 26. Let's see, the road widths are about 26 going in either direction. Some of these the individual lane widths are about 16 feet wide. I'm wondering why we didn't do any sort of, on-street parking. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a public works question on this one.
Good evening, Planner Commissioners. All right, so there is some on-street parking you can see on the south side over there of Sandpoint, approaching Hutton Center Drive.
Right, we got like 4 on the parallel parking side, right?
Yeah.
And then that's already, because it's a pre-existing cutout to the existing roadway as is. What I'm saying is both on the Main Street side, we do have that right-hand turn
Yes.
lane. I know that that's probably for the traffic, but if we're trying to create less of a gap between the neighborhood and it's got a little bit more residential, it seems like a natural place to add in a layer of parking, not have too much of an impact on the traffic patterns heading north, and still maybe having that right-hand turn lane. But so it seems like it was a missed opportunity for on-street parking there, along with other portions of Sandpoint Avenue.
Yeah, I did notice how long that right turn pocket is. It is very long, northbound on Main Street, approaching Sandpoint. But the traffic team did not actually comment on that. So we can take another look at that in terms of Public Works team.
And this is actually maybe part of the larger vision for the general area. Is it seems like this is also a location where there's wide enough intersections that I'm afraid with all the uncontrolled kind of turning in directions, what we're now doing is the standard practice seems to be installing roundabouts in kind of higher traffic areas.
Yeah.
And we do need a method to pay for the roundabouts. So even if we do on-street paid parking for this district, it allows additional flexibility. The funding can go back into the improvements, and it just creates a more walkable, urban, and kind of safe environment where we're going to have less traffic issues, and we can do the roundabouts now prior to everybody kind of moving in.
Yeah.
So again, just a bigger thought and vision, but this is, a big project and, one of the big missing components to this particular new neighborhood, I guess, yeah.
Right, and definitely valid points. And I think because of the affordable housing and the need for, the state's support for housing kind of regardless to a degree of some of the normal things we might ask for in a development project, I think that, it's a little tighter what we can actually ask for.
Okay, yeah, so even if that's maybe just something in the future as a city project adjacent to this, it does seem, again, large or a very significant opportunity for parking meters to add parking to then allow for additional circulation, because it seems it's going to be a very, as far as density and intensity of uses and variety of uses, is probably the closest thing we have to another downtown in the city at this point.
With short-term versus longer-term parking, that kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Just
Okay.
That balance. I think that was the only parking question. Yeah, okay, you're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so there was that one, street parking. And I guess just to alleviate some of the fears from the residents, a 30% AMI is for a family of four making $50,000 a year. So we all know families that make $50,000 a year that can't afford to live here. So that's, I think, the target audience for this family. There's no permanent supportive housing here, or permanent supportive housing here. So that's probably more of the area or higher need population, even more so. But this is, again, 30% AMI. So family of 50,000 would be kind of that target audience for that those 20 units.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Oh, sorry, just the 30% AMI currently is for Orange County, family of four would be $50,000 a year. So then, we'd basically be looking for families that make upwards to $50,000 is kind of the cap.
That's correct.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. This actually, I'm not sure if it is in the conditions currently. So during that second phase, when the building gets demolished, will there be any sort of mandated HABs recording of the building? So just kind of documentation prior to demolition? I know it's not a historic building, but as a standard practice.
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. One of the conditions of approval is that the project be consistent with the mitigation included in the general plan. And in the general plan, one of the items is that if the building is older than 45 years old, which I believe this one is, we would go through that exercise.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And there was one condition, I think that was reasonable, that came in from ALUC regarding tenant notification on noise, which I think is something that is included already, but just wanted to make sure we flag that, that seemed like a decent recommendation from ALUC. And I think that's what I have for now.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing with the commission being able to ask additional questions of staff afterwards. Would the applicant like to speak on the matter? And the public hearing is now open. Okay, so then clear.
Good evening, Chair Ramos and Commissioners. Thank you for the chance to be here tonight. I am Johnny Schneider, represent the applicant, the owner for the property. We're a committed developer in Santa Ana. This is not our first project here, and we're excited to be back. A big thank you to staff getting us to this point, and we look forward to your questions. The design team is here and can respond if you have questions for us, and we urge your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions or comments for the applicant? Or anybody on the applicant's team? Go ahead, Commissioner Leo.
I wanted to ask you when the penciling of the project and you couldn't do ownership and you went the affordable route. I'm trying to understand what triggered it, because at times we want to try to create permanent areas, communities. So I'll ask you what happened.
No, nothing changed in that respect. We are a market rate apartment developer. We're a long-term hold. We have a number of properties like this. We like to build community. There isn't a misunderstanding about that. I appreciated your question about the ways in which code incents that. I had a very, not unique, but notable interaction with a tenant at our property at the Park on First, next to the zoo. The tenant there used to live north Victorville, I believe. He's retired Navy veteran, and his wife, they relocated to Santa Ana for more than a short term so that she could receive medical care. So we very much believe in the product that we're developing, which market rate for those that wish it, and there to serve as a stepping stone. I lived in an apartment before I bought my first house. My roommate from college, he lived in an apartment before he bought his first house. So I am proud of the community that we're enabling and the product that we're providing. I think it serves an important.
So when you went down this road and staff asked about ownership, and you basically said, well, once we add the affordable component, it can't be ownership? Or was there a trigger somewhere? Because when you think about the number of units we've approved, being the leader in the county right now, we're going to have to contemplate how we get these young folks, young professionals, into an ownership product of some kind.
Sure.
And what's happened is the high rises down across from Sandpoint were originally approved as condominiums. They're now apartments. So what I'm trying to figure out is what was the trigger that said, I can't do ownership, I have to do rental?
So
have to do apartments?
I'm not familiar with the adjacent property and the conversion from one to the other. That's new. I will say that we always planned this project as a market rate rental apartment project. I've talked candidly with staff about the future potential for other things, but this was always intended to be a market rate apartment.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner Leo.
Oh, and I will add, we have architect, traffic, other members of our team here if there are other questions that I can't answer. So
Thank you. And we'll have you stay here as there will likely be several questions from the commission, and then you can call any members of your team up as needed. Do we have any other questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Commissioner Pham.
I know that you're offering a studio, 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. In the 2 bedrooms, is there a occupancy limit in terms of operational for your property? Meaning, is it available for a family of 4, or is it available for a family of 6, or is it just 2 people?
we don't have a policy separate from building code.
Because my conflict here is that you're offering extremely low income units, right? And the AMI is based on a family of 4. But if it's in practice, you're only going to be renting out to a an applicant that can only occupy two person per apartment, then it kind of defeats the purpose. That's where my conflict is, and maybe it's a question I can also ask housing development, but that's where I'm trying to tease out is there a policy, because like you said, you've managed other properties, do you allow for more than 2 occupants in a 2-bedroom apartment typically?
I would have to check and get back to you about the specifics, looking at our other operation, but I recognize the tension you're referring to. So I will double check and find that out, but I don't know the answer to that question.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Pham. Go ahead, Commissioner Wu.
Let's talk about business, okay? Of all the choices that you could make for the property, this is what you chose, consulting your architect and all that, right? You didn't want to do townhomes. You don't want to do single-family homes, right? No. We all have different opinions about what the market is, right? But there's a marketplace for those people who are not ready to marry, not ready to settle down in a home that they have to pay a mortgage on. So they look for a place that they could stay. Then you have workers that earn a living, but not enough to live in a home, that studio might just fit them at the same time. So you're a developer who look at that market and rental, because you're going to own that for a long time, and you're going to receive an income from that, right? And that's different from if you were to buy a house and sell it off, right? You get the capital gain right away.
Sure.
Okay. Can you explain? I don't know if you need to explain, but I just want to contrast the difference between how a developer does, apartment houses versus a homeowner and that does single-family home. And in single-family home, you need more in land, don't you, in space, because you have yard to consider or something, right? And the market for that, for affordability with the interest rate today is kind of high, right? I'm just asking us so that we could clarify that for people who are thinking that we should be building single-family home on this property. It just didn't fit a viable model. Is that right?
I wouldn't know the, how different the amount of space is for the neighborhood across the street for the site that we're on. Currently, the site that we are planning to develop is a large, open asphalt parking lot. It's not a large enough space to put a large number of single-family homes.
And your decision to put very low income there was not gratuitous, right? Because you weren't asking for increased density and, more units being built on an increased density.
Correct.
You said you wanted to have low-income people live in the house, very low income, right? In your unit. So, and that's the difference between being gratuitous in order to achieve something, in terms of your building. Am I right about that?
We are not pursuing a higher density as a result of that agreement. Maybe I should be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Vice Chair Benninger.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you and your team for meeting with the neighborhood associations. As I talked to both presidents, they all had very positive comments about how the interaction went. I guess the one confusion that I have is Sandpoint believes you're parking 3 units per apartments, and yet city's telling me it's 1.5. Can you explain the difference?
Sure. I can't speak for the comment that was made to you, but my understanding is the Sandpoint HOA is expecting us to provide 2 to 1. Not 3 to 1, but 2 to 1 was my understanding of their understanding. So I can't speak to your comment, but I will say that we have asserted to them a 2 to 1 ratio. I have the more specifics in the back, and I'll defer to the architect on the precise, but I will not take all of the thunder by saying we do, as Nancy mentioned, have an easement agreement with the parking structure to the south. They provide a certain amount of parking spaces to our site. And then we also have the parking structure across the street, 203, and a large number there. So with all of those being provided, we do provide a ratio close to 2 to 1, if not over 2 to 1, with the parking that we have available.
Okay. Because, they felt that they had moved from 2 to 3. I'll talk back to Tammy and let her know.
2 to 1 would be, I think.
2 to 1's number. Okay, very good. Just more for general knowledge, and what sort of commercial buildings are you looking to come in? Grocery store? What are you looking for?
We would love to provide a grocery store. I'm not sure if a grocery tenant would be there. We will provide a large number of customers to the potential tenants that come there. I can't say who that will be. I don't know. We don't have commitments from a grocery store. I sure would like one if you know somebody. But we would hope that the retail there would be a good match for the apartment and the surrounding neighborhoods. And I think that hopefully that will be the case. There should be demand from those customers for that type of retail.
Okay. That is one point that Sandpoint brought up to me, was that they would love to see a grocery store over there.
Yes, yes, they would.
Thank you, Amistad.
Thank you. I have a few questions. My first one is, are you planning to use any union labor for this project?
We have no firm plans one way or the other at this point. We have a year still to design the construction drawings. We have no objection to, but we have no agreement in place at this point, no.
Okay, and is that something that you're open to considering?
Not tonight, no.
That's just a
I'm not sure
question.
I
I'm not
understand your
looking to
question.
make it a condition.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Are you all exploring using union labor to build this development?
We have no objection to, we're not exploring it at this time. We're waiting for our entitlement approval so that we can begin construction drawings.
Thank you. My next question is, how many of your 400 units are ADA compliant or will be ADA compliant?
Again, not to take they are all adaptable ADA, which is to say they can all be ADA. At this point, we would follow building code, but they would all be adaptable ADA at this time.
Okay, including the 20 affordable housing units?
Yes.
Okay. What is the community benefit agreement that you have negotiated with the neighborhood association entail?
I don't have a copy of it. I don't have it here. This would be with,
So per public comment and staff comment, it seems that you, as the applicant or your team, has entered a community benefit agreement with the nearby neighborhood association. Staff isn't aware of those details because you all have negotiated it, so I'm asking for details.
their concerns were mainly focused on security and on parking. We've made them assurances that they will not have parking issues as a result of our project. And we've also reassured them that we will not be providing them any security risks as a result of our project.
So what do those assurances include? I saw in the written public comment a mention of a parking pass program. What does that mean?
We've offered different ways to mitigate any unknown or future parking concerns, including a parking plan.
So what would that look like?
In other cases, we don't have a specific plan in place for this project. This would be triggered by an unforeseen future issue. We anticipate providing more than enough parking so that we don't provide them any issues. In the unlikely event that they have issues as a result of our project, which we are assured that they won't, in that unlikely event, we would take steps to monitor our tenants' parking such that if there was an issue in their neighborhood caused by our tenants, we could take action.
So do you have any information on what that action would look like? Does that mean off-site parking? I'm just trying to understand the community benefit that this development would provide.
We have assured the adjacent neighborhood that they will not have any parking issue. Should they have a parking issue, we will engage with a parking plan.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Pamela Cepetto, I think I can clarify that because I worked very closely with the Sandpoint HOA on the agreement with them. And I think you will find in your staff report the conditions that deal with the parking pass program, part of the parking management plan that are listed in your conditions of approval are the same as what we are doing with the Sandpoint Homeowners Association. That is a private agreement with them. It's not a public agreement, but we have indeed talked about the managing the parking through parking pass programs, assisting them in security if there are any security issues that they find or they are encountering, that we are going to be very similar, doing things very similar as what we did with the Bloom, because I also worked on that project as well with the Sandpoint Homeowners Association. We are establishing a parking pass program where the residents that live there will have stickers or decals so that they can be recognized if they are parking in the community. We are also did commit to 2-to-1 parking. When you add the, I think there's a bit of confusion over the amount of parking that's here, and I'll let our other consultant talk to you about what that actual ratio is. But when you add the 69 spaces, and when you add the parking that's at Hutton Place, and when you add the parking that is at 203, we actually are providing more than 2 per unit, which is what we committed in our agreement with the Homeowners Association.
Thank you. Thank you for providing a more thorough response. Can you share a bit more about that security package and exactly what the applicant is willing to provide to
Sure.
them?
So we discussed with them the notion of whether they would like to have cameras in their community. They have not decided that they really want to do that, but we have agreed to commit to contribute financially an amount of money to them to buy 3 or 4 cameras if that's what they want to do. So that is what we're talking about in terms of security. I know that the Bloom project also did not offer that. They offered just their security personnel driving around the neighborhood, but that is not part of this project.
Thank you. And then my next question is on the affordable housing that will be provided. How did the applicant decide to provide 20 units at extremely low income? How did you all come to that decision?
We came to that decision because we felt that that was meeting the greatest need, and that would be providing providing and meeting the greatest need in the community for that amount. And so that's why we chose that.
Thank you. Thank you for choosing to build extremely low income. We don't see that often, and I greatly appreciate it. I've been a big advocate for that for a long time. And did you all consider building more than 5% of the units as affordable housing?
We considered the different options in terms of affordability, which would have included more units, but decided instead to use the 5% extremely low.
Thank you. And would it be feasible, or would you all consider building additional units, additional affordable housing units?
No, that is pencils to the bottom line, and that was the most they could do.
Thank you. And then I'll re-ask a question I asked earlier, just to see if you have a different or more thorough answer, or is the applicant exploring using union labor at this time?
The applicant did enter into negotiations, but at this point, nothing, we haven't finished that. So they really need to get to the construction drawing detail level, find out what the cost is. But again, as Johnny said, they're not opposed at all to using union labor through an open bid process.
Thank you. So it sounds like you are exploring it.
Yes.
Thank you. And then just one more question I also asked earlier. I asked how many of the 400 units are ADA compliant, heard that they would be ADA adaptable. If we make having a certain number of percentage of units ADA compliant a condition, is that something the applicant is amicable to?
That I don't know.
Whoever would be the best person to answer
So I
that.
think that I'm going to introduce Paul Anderson, who is with TCA. He's the architect and can address that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So typically, there's a difference between adaptable and accessible. So accessible has a lot more requirements. It's usually, you see accessible units come into play when it's government-funded housing. So when you do, affordable housing that is subsidized by the government, then we would go to those extreme conditions to deal with accessibility, whether it's for wheelchairs, whether it's for sight, whether it's for sound. In this case, that's not something that we're pursuing. The affordable units that are being provided are being paid for by the applicant. They'll actually be at the same level as the market rate units, so there won't be finished changes or anything along those lines. And so then every unit will be handicap accessible, meaning that it will meet certain threshold sizes, certain door sizes, strike site clearances. So if you are in a wheelchair, you're able to maneuver through your apartment. That goes for bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchen spaces. All of that will comply with accessibility requirements from Chapter 11A of the Building Code.
Thank you. So would the applicant be amicable to committing to a specific number of units that are considered accessible?
Not really at this time. There is a large financial obligation to take units that are accessible and make them, adaptable and make them accessible. We believe that the accessible units work for the majority of people with special needs. And because we're not receiving government funding, there's no additional funding mechanism to allow us to do fully adaptable units.
Sorry, do you mean no additional mechanism to do fully accessible, but you're adaptable?
Fully accessible units.
Thank you. So if a person was interested in renting and they required an accessible unit, would the applicant then create one of the adaptable units and make or adapt it to be more accessible?
So what an adaptable unit would mean is that if there's a person with special needs, let's say a person that's in a wheelchair that wishes to rent the unit, the applicant will then install certain items within that unit to make it comparable, if you will, to an accessible unit. So I'll give you an example. So in bathrooms, there'll be backing in the walls to accommodate grab bars, but grab bars won't be provided in the standard unit. But someone who is in a wheelchair who rents the unit then would require the applicant to install grab bars within that bathroom area. Other items are already built in place. So workspace within a kitchen, there are areas that are lower within the kitchen that allow for someone in a wheelchair to be able to utilize that workspace for prepping food versus having the higher countertop. Those were already built into place. So there are certain things that we would do, or the applicant rather would do, to accommodate those needs.
Great, thank you for that clarification. Those are all the questions I have at this time. I'm going to go this way, Commissioner Wu, and then we'll come back around. Commissioner Leo, do you have any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Commissioner Escamilla.
Yeah, sorry, I'm wondering if you can speak to, this particular project doesn't unbundle parking, but you have kind of the situation where you have a lot of various kind of options for parking in the immediate vicinity. Can you talk to me just a little bit about your experience since you have like a larger kind of just rental portfolio of like what unbundling does as far as the impacts to parking management on a site this large? If there is anything that you can speak to on that. If not, that's okay. But it just seems to be one of the issues that if parking's coming up, that might be one potential solution to try to figure out how to better manage the parking on site.
Based on, I'll answer in brief. We like to typically be at a 1.8 at our properties. We find that works very well. And sometimes those projects with a 1.8 will have 2 and 3 bedrooms in some cases. In this project with the unbundled parking, we're at a 2-to-1 ratio. We would like this project to be at a 1.8 if we were designing it based on historical data, not exactly building code or zoning code. So I don't know if that answers your question, but we feel very confident with the parking. And then we've worked with staff to make sure that there is signage in the future directing tenants or guests parking on site to available nearby parking.
Right, and I guess just for like this particular project, how is that agreement going to work out, I guess, with the Griffin structures that's maybe not on the project site, but then individuals that are renting here will have, I guess, priority access or kind of a set aside, or again, not quite sure how that agreement's going to be working there?
At our other project, at our other project in Santa Ana, we use assigned parking. In the Griffin example, we have a number of spaces that are easemented to the property, and so a simple assignment would solve for that. That's a couple of years away from now, and maybe we tweak that plan, but that would be one way of addressing it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla. We're going to go back to Commissioner Wu now.
May the lady please come back up? For the interest in terms of public disclosure, your private agreement with the homeowner association, did anyone sitting up here participate in that negotiation?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Do we have any additional questions for the applicant at this time? Great, I see none for now. Thank you. Recording Secretary, have we received any written communication, or is there a member of the public that would like to comment on this item?
Chair, we have received a total of 6 emails in the form of public comments for this item before the 3:30 p.m. deadline, which has been distributed to the commission and posted online. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we have 2 speakers in-house and 1 speaker in Zoom.
Thank you. I'm going to first call up Brian Farkas. I apologize if I mispronounced your last name.
No, you got it right. Thank you. Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Brian Farkas. I represent the Western States Regional Council of Carpenters. I'm here this evening regarding the Sandpoint LLC mixed-use project before you tonight, consisting of 400 residential units and ground floor commercial space. Our organization represents thousands of skilled construction workers across Southern California, including roughly 1,200 active members who live right here in the city of Santa Ana and are ready to help build this projects like this one. I want to briefly address the workforce provisions of the city's Housing Opportunity Ordinance that became effective January 1st, 2026. As reflected in tonight's agenda item, the density bonus agreement related to this project's affordable housing obligations will be considered separately by the City Council. Under the city's Housing Opportunity Ordinance, projects proposing 20 or more units that utilize the in lieu fee compliance option are required to provide enforceable commitments for the use of skilled and trained workforce in compliance with the city's local hiring policies. Those provisions were adopted by the City Council to ensure that when large residential projects move forward, the surrounding community shares the benefits through quality local jobs and properly trained workforce. Given the size of this project and the value it stands to generate, we hope the applicant embraces those standards rather than attempts to avoid or narrow their applicability. We respectfully encourage the Commission and city staff to ensure the city's adopted workforce policy are fully applied and implemented as intended. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Up next, we have Tissy Smith. I also apologize if I have mispronounced your name.
Sorry. My name's Tissy Smith. I live in Sandpoint. I've lived there for 30 years. I am a single-family home. My concern is, according to these people, they're going to have 29 studios with 0 parking for those people. Everybody knows in California, you have at least 1 car. These people in 201 across the street, when they're trying to do the construction and all of that, they don't allow for their people, their workers, to any place to park. So they come and they park in our neighborhood, and they eat their lunch, or they sleep, or whatever they're doing for their lunch hours. Also, in the 30 years I have lived there, we had 3 parks, public parks. We have never had another public park since. But these apartments, they get a parking or a park kind of area for their own people. But then they use our parks because our parks have areas for their children. Also, these 20 extremely low-income affordable units, who selects these people that get to come into those units? Do they do background checks to make sure that we're not getting, I go to the city council meetings and I hear all the time about the people that move into these low-income places and then they start doing drugs and they can't get them out, and it's a total nightmare. They don't live by me. I mean, last week we did have someone sleeping in the parkway. We called the police and they came and shooed the person away, I don't know where. But I just want you to be really aware, when they say 400 units with 718 parking spaces, but they have 4 people in each unit, it doesn't work out. So those are my opinions. Oh, and also when they're talking about rental versus ownership, I asked at 201 Sandpoint why they were doing that. And they said, it's because ownership doesn't give us any money. We get these long-term rentals that turn over. So why would we want to provide something that's a one-off for us? That's it.
Thank you. And then I believe we have a speaker on Zoom.
Michael Hansen, you have 3
Yes,
minutes.
that's Michael Hansen. Just a couple of points in regards to things I've heard in this meeting. I've heard reference to the Sandpoint Homeowners Association. There is no legal entity that represents homeowners in the Sandpoint neighborhood. It's a group that represents but without legal authority. So when they're making CBAs, they're not representing every person in the neighborhood, as there is no association. We've also had promises of parking issues with the Mark, the Towers, Blue, that they would not park in our neighborhood. Well, if you drive in our neighborhood in the morning, you will see people walking across the street from the Mark, coming to get their cars in the neighborhood. You will see people, if you take a walk at 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night in the neighborhood, you see plenty of people driving up, hopping out of their car, and somebody else picks them up and drives off to the apartments. These are all issues that their 1.5 parking spaces per unit is laughable. We were made promises with previous building construction jobs that parking would not be an issue. We already have an issue with houses with multiple cars for people that just live with their family. And then we have to fight with people who are coming in from the apartments parking our neighborhood. So I'm just concerned, as a 30-year resident of this neighborhood, I work in the city, and that legally my concerns and my rights, as began in the presentation, don't matter. My quality of life doesn't matter. Having parking at a home I purchased 30 years ago doesn't matter, because legally I don't hold a lot of weight compared to this corporation that wants to come build these units. There's many more things I can say, but that's basically what I need to say.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. It looks like those are all the speakers we have. I will entertain a commission discussion before closing the public hearing in the case that there are any additional questions for the applicant. Are there any discussion points that any commissioners would like to bring up at this point, or any questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Commissioner Pham.
I had a follow-up question for Judson.
Yes, or questions for staff, thank you.
Can we ask that?
Go ahead.
You know, my general question to the applicant is similar to right now is that, you know, in the report, we are assuming a 4-person household for an income level that is extremely low. Have we ran into issues where, for example, a 2-unit apartment that is meant to be allocated for a very low income family is restricted by occupancy?
Yeah, thank you so much, Commissioner Pham. So in regards to the occupancy requirements for the affordable housing units, the affordable units would need to still comply with our inclusionary housing ordinance. And so that would mean a minimum of 1 occupant for the 0-bedroom unit, or a minimum of 1 occupant for the 1-bedroom unit, or 2 occupants for the 2-bedroom units, and a maximum of 6 occupants for the 2-bedroom units, 4 for the 1-bedroom unit, or 2 for the 0-bedroom unit. And so we do inspect those units on an annual basis. And if there is any overcrowding in which the household is exceeding these occupancy standards, then we do enforce those occupancy standards with the property manager.
So where I'm unclear is that, you know, there's 1 lease to a unit, right? How do we evaluate whether or not a single individual, the single leaseholder for that unit, is extremely low income?
So the family is qualified and determined eligible by the property manager. And if they are a 1-person household residing in, say, the studio unit, then the property manager determines that 1-bedroom household's income eligibility in compliance with the 1-person maximum household income for our area median.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pham. Commissioner Wu.
Justin, across the street from Main Place are the town and country apartment houses. Some of them are similar to what is being proposed here. And they have inspections too. And they're very thorough. Because I know one of the tenants there is my daughter, and she had to clean up her apartment before the inspection came, and then afterward, and they check how many people are living there at the same time. So that's the kind of inspection you do, right? You look at the rug, refrigerator, who you know, how many people live in there and all that stuff, right?
That is correct, yes, sir. We conduct a full unit inspection, the health and safety of the unit in compliance with something called housing quality standards. And then we verify the family unit count.
So you just don't just administer the Section 8 housing, right?
That's correct. We also enforce and monitor these agreements for the affordable units.
Now, the applicant did not mention that, but these low-income, very low-income housing, would they qualify for Section 8, or that's a whole nother process?
These extremely low-income housing units, they would be, if the
applicant, right? The apartment applicant, right?
Yeah, was to receive a Section 8 voucher holder as an applicant, then that applicant would be eligible for these units.
So typically, those are people living in Santa Ana right now and looking for housing, right?
Yes, yes.
That's holding those certificate have been applied for, and that you guys have reviewed the application, where they work, how they get the income and all that, right?
Yes, so for context regarding that, the Rafferty in downtown
Right.
Santa Ana, they had, what was it? 11 units on site. And they had several thousand applicants, 3,141 applicants for those 11 units on site. So this property, the same for those 20 extremely low-income units and a new construction, beautiful new building like this. These 20 units will have thousands of applicants.
Yeah, I have a granddaughter down at the Rafferty. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Escamilla.
All right, now, sorry, this is, I normally never have a quibble with anything that Ali says, because I take Ali's word all the time, but Mr. Commissioner Leo, in response to, I guess the question earlier about whether or not we have any incentives for, oh my gosh, for sale projects, my understanding was that our section 41-1904.1 still includes a 35% density bonus, a local density bonus for any moderate for sale projects, so that we in fact can stack that on top of state density levels. So you can almost effectively double the underlying density. I think the densities are so high that it might not impact the project's final, oh my gosh, the number of viable projects that increases, but there are at least some efforts there, I think, within the code for an increased number of for sale projects. And we probably want to take a look at maybe some of the, oh my gosh, restrictions that we have for condo conversions. So I know that we drafted those laws in the 80s, so that's a little, probably out of date now for what we want, and we probably should be looking at condo conversions. But yeah, just I guess more the observation that if we can have those early conversations with developers, letting them know that there is this local option that will provide another route potentially. And obviously, I think it's too far down the road for this one, but did want to let the applicant know that there was a local density bonus for moderate for sale units. And that moderate range is for the County of Orange, a family, or actually a single person, is up to $132,000 a year, right? So we always have to remember that moderate in OC is not moderate in kind of the US context.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla. Are there any additional questions or comments? Any questions for the applicant before I close the hearing? Great, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. We're going to go ahead and now see if there is a motion to approve this matter, but before that, I would just like to make a comment. I would just like to say that affordable housing units are for everyone. They could be for anybody in the audience that is income eligible. They could be for anybody up on the dais that is income eligible, for any of our city staff that are income eligible. And I just want to dispel any myths about individuals that are extremely low income being any less worthy of being our neighbors or being inherently dangerous or inherently bad for our community. The individuals that will occupy these affordable housing units will be put under more scrutiny as they apply to qualify for these units. So I just want to say that so that anybody that hears of affordable housing coming to your neighborhood, that you are aware that there is a very thorough process by which individuals have to go to apply for affordable housing. With that, is there a motion to approve this matter?
I'd like to move.
We have a motion from Commissioner Escamilla. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you. We have a second from Vice Chair Benninger. Secretary, can you please call for a roll call vote?
Commissioner Escamilla?
Aye.
Commissioner Leo?
Aye.
Commissioner Oliva? Commissioner Pham?
Aye.
Commissioner Wu?
Aye.
Vice Chair Benninger?
Aye.
Chair Ramos?
Aye.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Oliva absent.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to call for a brief 10-minute recess.
Yes, I don't know if we're going to break, but we have two more.
I remember their parking lot.
Hey, I'm gonna go pick up some pizza. I'll be right back. Got it?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, because that's the way they get them, because.
We are reconvening the meeting now at 7:27 PM. Thank you. I apologize for the delay. We are now going to continue to go a bit out of order. Thank you all for your flexibility and patience. We're going to go ahead and take on item number 2 now. This is the time and place for modification of conditional use permit number 1988-11 and variance number 2026-01 for the property located at 4405 West Edinger Avenue, located within the single-family residence R1 zoning district. Before we begin, do any commissioners have anything they wish to disclose with regard to this item? Great, seeing as there are no disclosures, the case planner, Fernanda Arias Hernandez, will provide a brief presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. As discussed, up for discussion tonight, we have Archangel Coptic Church parking lot expansion, conditional use permit number 1988-11-mod 1, and variance number 2026-01 at 4405 West Edinger Avenue. The applicant is requesting approval of the conditional use permit and variance to facilitate the expansion of an existing church parking lot. The project consists of the demolition of 2 single-family residences and the addition of 43 off-street parking spaces. resulting in a total of 138 on-site parking spaces. As part of this project, there's no changes that are proposed to the existing church building. With that, staff is recommending to adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 1988-11-mod 1 and variance number 2026-01 as conditioned. The project is located in a low-density residential general plan, and it has a zoning of single-family residential, surrounded by single-family residential to the north, east, south, and City of Fountain Valley to the south, and multifamily residential to the west. The existing lot size is 1.49 acres or 65,144 square feet, and they're proposing to merge 3 lots, resulting in 2.3 acres or 100,845 square feet. In 1983, CUP 1983-12 was approved to allow the conversion of an existing 1,700 square foot single-family residence into a church. Then in 1988, City Council approved conditional use permit 1988-11 for a revised project that relocated the church building closer to Edinger Avenue. It retained 2 residential structures along Regent Drive. In 1995, the Planning Commission approved a modified condition to address complaints regarding church operations, including on-street parking, noise, and neighborhood access. In 2003, the Planning Commission approved an expansion, but the City Council overturned the approval. And this was due to traffic, parking, noise, and other concerns from the neighborhood. As such, no changes have been made to conditional use permit number 1988-11. In 2019, the applicant proposed 110 additional seats and 101 new parking spaces. The application was continued indefinitely due to unresolved neighborhood concerns. So existing operations have remained the same under the existing CUP. Accordingly, the existing church continues to operate under CUP number 1988-11 as modified, which serves as basis for the current request to further amend the entitlement. Demolition of 2 single-family residences located at 4319 and 4325 West Edinger are being proposed, and this would allow for 43 parking spaces, which would allow a total of 138 parking spaces. With the current project, there is no changes proposed to the existing 16,798 square foot church. There's also no changes to the current operations. The requested CUP is required to allow expansion of a church related to the use within a single-family residential zoning district. The requested variance would allow a reduced landscape setback. The code requires 15 feet, and they are proposing 0 foot along Edinger. And this is to accommodate the proposed parking layout and on-site circulation improvements. The applicant prepared a historic resource assessment for the properties that are proposed to be demolished, which concluded that the properties do not qualify as a historic resource. This slide shows the existing property at 4325 West Edinger from Edinger, the top photo, and then the bottom photo is a view from Gates, and that address is 4319 West Edinger Avenue. This slide illustrates the existing and demolition site plan. The area that's highlighted orange is the 2 single-family homes that are proposed to be demolished. This is the proposed site plan. Those 2 single-family lots would be demolished, and then the 43 parking spaces would be provided. The conditional use permit number 1988-11 mod 1 It includes modifications to a previously approved entitlement, and it's governed by Section 41-638 of the Santa Ana Municipal Code. As a modification to an existing CUP, the analysis focuses on a proposed parking expansion and its consistency with the original approval, as well as its potential to result in new or increased impacts. The 43 parking space expansion is intended to address existing parking demand associated with the church and reduce potential overflow parking with the surrounding residential neighborhood. The project has been designed to improve on-site circulation and access from Edinger to thereby minimize traffic and parking-related impacts on adjacent residential streets. The proposed parking lot expansion complies with all applicable development standards, with the exception of the required front yard landscape setback, which is addressed through the variance. Variance requests are governed by Section 41-638 of the Santa Ana Municipal Code. A portion of land adjacent to the subject property was identified as having no clear record of ownership and could not be incorporated as part of the project. The applicant initiated a quiet title action to establish ownership, was not granted title, and the land remains unavailable for development. In addition to the unclaimed land, the subject property is irregularly shaped and is bounded by residential uses to the north and east, which further limit the available area for site improvements. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the required 15-foot front yard landscape setback to 0 feet along Edinger to allow the expansion of the existing parking lot. The reduced setback is necessary to maintain adequate drive aisle widths, provide safe ingress and egress, and accommodate service vehicle circulation, including trash collection. The project is consistent with the general plan with a low density residential, or LR7, land use designation, which preserves the character of residential neighborhoods through neighborhood stability, compatible scale and development patterns that reinforce the area's residential character. The proposed parking lot expansion provides additional on-site parking that would otherwise occur on surrounding residential streets. The project is also in compliance with Goal Land Use 2, which discusses land use needs and requires a balance of land uses that meet Santa Ana's needs, specifically Policy 2.3, supportive spaces. The project is consistent with those policies which seek a balance of land uses and meet the need of the city. By providing additional parking for the existing church, the project supports ongoing serving activities while accommodating parking demand for visitors and congregants. The project is also in compliance with Goal Land Use 3, specifically Policy 3.1, which support a compatibility within residential neighborhoods. The expansion improves on-site parking and circulation for an existing use while maintaining the established character of the area. The project has been designed to maintain compatible with the surrounding neighborhood and avoids the introduction or visual of physical inconsistencies. In accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act and the CEQA guidelines, the project is exempt from further review pursuant to Section 15301, Class 1, existing facilities, Section 15303, Class 3, new construction or conversion of small structures, and Section 15304, Class 4, minor alterations to land, which apply to minor alterations of existing facility involving negligible or no expansion of use, conversions of structures or accessory structures under 10,000 square feet in urbanized areas, and minor alterations to land. The project consists of a demolition of 2 single-family residences, which are approximately 3,000 square feet, and the construction of an expanded at-grade parking lot, including associated circulation improvements, landscaping, and lighting to serve the existing church. The project does not increase the intensity of the existing use, but instead improves on-site parking capacity and circulation. In addition, the proposed improvements are minor alterations to the land with no major grading changes. As such, the notice of exemption environmental review number 2025-94 will be filed for the project. The city hired a consultant to peer review the historic resources assessment, which indicated the 2 single-family residences proposed to be demolished were not considered historic resource, and there is no fiscal impact associated with the project. As such, staff is recommending to adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 1988-11-mod 1 as conditioned, and adopt a resolution approving variance number 2026-01 as conditioned. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission have any questions for staff at this time? Go ahead, Commissioner Wu.
Does the church have ownership of the 2 property? Has that a title been established?
Thank you for your question, Commissioner Wu. Are you asking if the church owns the 2 properties that are proposed to be demolished?
Yes.
Thank you. They do own both properties.
Okay. So is their right to be able to tear it down, only that there are requirements that we are specifying in the motion here to enable that to happen in a way consistent with our general plan and municipal codes and all that stuff, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Vice Chair Benninger.
What time of the week or day do they have the most activity at this church?
Most activity happens during the weekends. I'm sorry, thank you for the question. And during their hours of operation, normally happens during the weekends and during some weeknights.
It sounds like there was problems with the neighbors in the past. Have their issues been resolved?
They would be resolved through the addition of parking. Most of the concerns were regarding parking on the streets. So now that they're adding parking on site, that would resolve the issue of churchgoers parking in residential zones and instead parking in the parking lot.
You hit the key focus that I had was the lighting. Under our city, do we have ordinances limiting times in which you can light that parking lot?
That's correct. They have to comply with lighting standards in the Santa Ana Municipal Code, and that would be reviewed through plan check.
To the homes that are just to the north of the 2 that are going to be demolished, is there going to be a wall built there to keep the light from bothering those folks?
Through the plan check process, staff will make sure that there's shields that protect light from spilling onto their properties.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Benninger. Do we have any other questions for staff? Commissioner Escamilla.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. So this is going to be the 4325 and 4319 homes that are demolished. And then is it the vacant kind of adjacent abandoned property or unclaimed property, that little kind of odd shaped triangular circular thing that happens where the 2 streets meet? Okay. And just to confirm that there's not going to be any sort of modification to the circulation pattern. It literally is everything will be on those 2 sides, and this actually prevents any sort of expansion northward, where then there would be maybe more of an impact into the neighborhoods. So all of that is in here?
That is correct, yes. I can pull up the site plan if...
No, that sounds good. Again, just wanted to make sure I was reading it right, but it does also then appear that maybe there seems to be some ownership or at least some interoperation between some of the properties that are there by the, oh my gosh, that little roundabout on Regent, just because I'm seeing like some gates and stuff. So those are, I presume, owned by the Coptic Church as well?
There's 2 properties that are located in the rear that are owned by the church, but there's 2 other properties that are closer to the corner of, I think, Gates and Regent. Those are not owned by the church, but they do have, there's gates there.
Okay, they're not owned by, okay. Yeah, I just was trying to figure out that because, oh, someone online.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Commissioner Scalia.
Okay, yeah, no, that's, but I think that's, those are the questions that I had, and, oh, sorry, I guess, total additional parking now that we're gonna be adding here, what's the number of?
40, I'm sorry, are you?
Yeah, number of additional parking spaces.
43 parking spaces.
Okay, perfect, cool, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Scalia. Do we have any other comments or questions for staff at this time?
One question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Pham.
Historically, in your staff report, there were complaints about noise. Was it noise due to activity or noise due to the parking movement?
I believe there was both. Thank you. I believe there was both. And this was reflected in 1995 and 2003, and then again in 2019. But since then, there's no active code enforcement cases. This is probably going to solve most of the parking issues. And if there's noise complaints, the residents do have the option to contact code enforcement.
And then on the staff report, it says that as it stands, 95 parking stalls are required for the current use.
The current requirement is 108.
Oh, okay. But 95 is being provided. It's the exemption based on the previous CUP.
Correct.
So then they'll be delivering more than what's required.
Correct.
That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Pham. Do we have any other questions for staff at this time? Great, seeing none. Go ahead, Commissioner Wu.
It's according to their liturgy schedule, the earliest they start is around 5 o'clock 5 a.m. in the morning, but they have no service past 11:30. So, but since their establishment since in 1981, 7 years later, they started getting a lot of complaints from people, community, parking and stuff. So, is there a conclusion that could be drawn from that as the church became more established, but they don't have evening or late afternoon activity? Doesn't seem to have a school, so I'm wondering if the complaint might be just nuisance things or the unfamiliarity with the Coptic Orthodox Church. I'm sorry, that's a speculation question. I don't mean to ask that way, but I'm just kind of curious, Why
There
don't I
aren't any
ask the
patterns that we
applicant?
observe, but the applicant is in attendance tonight and can
I'll
take a
ask them.
stab at that. Thanks.
Thank you. With that, we're going to go ahead and now open the public hearing. Would the applicant like to speak on the matter? You may step forward. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jim Gartner. I'm a local architect here in Santa Ana, and I've lived here 40 years and had my business for 39, and a former planning commissioner. So I'm helping the church from initially architecturally, although the project morphed into more of a civil engineering project, but nonetheless, there's a lot of consultants involved, and the church representatives are here to answer questions that I probably can't even answer, some of yours about the hours of operation, et cetera. But anyway, the whole idea of the parking proposal is to alleviate neighborhood parking. So this concentrates the parking on the church property, and it's a really nice landscape job as well as kind of cleaning the whole site up, really. So it's been great to work with him on that, and as a resident here, I of course like that kind of improvement. So I'll let them answer specific questions, but if you have anything architecturally or how we came up with the site plan, be happy to answer that. So.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions of the applicant?
You answer my
You want to
question.
add something here? I think one commissioner may have had question earlier.
Yeah, good afternoon, Commissioner, and thank you for the opportunity to come after you today. And really great comment with the previous applicant and with us. Looking forward. First, of course, my name is Bassem Barsoum. I'm representing the board. I'm the secretary of the board, and I've been with the church since its establishment. Actually, we thought of the church since 1981, actually. The CUP came after you in 1983, so it's been about 45 years in the making. So since to address Mr. Wu's concern or questions, over the years, over that time, there has been a lot of activity as part of any new church that's being developed, a lot of things that we're trying to attract. We are serving everybody that's around the neighborhood, and with that, there is a lot of activity. So a lot of the things that we notice and observe is definitely with activity, there are noise to the neighbors. So we start limiting the activity to close no later than 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock off-site, like literally everybody out of the church at 10 o'clock. So the liturgy discussion, the concern that you mentioned, that liturgy, we alternate liturgies, and the intent of it is from a parking management standpoint. So we listen to the community and the need and the concern and the impact on the public, like the neighboring parking. So a way of mitigating it is to just alternate, like you have the same service twice. You have it earlier, and then we allow a half an hour to allow people to get out and get in, right, from the parking. Now with this project, what we're doing, and we're excited about it, is that we listen to the community and we wanted to even do above and beyond. With the addition of these parking, we're actually enhancing. As a matter of fact, I was blessed to be joined by few members from the church to 26 neighbors around the community, around this project, and everybody but nothing to support this project. Excited. As a matter of fact, I wanted to thank two of the neighbors sitting here with us too as well, patiently through the previous switch. Actually, they're sitting to support the project. They're the one with their wall right next to this development. So, by the way, as an FYI, one of them used to be against the project in 1995, the application at the time. You will be listening how things are changed and how he positively excited about the project, and he made the time from his busy schedule. And by the way, our outreach is a different approach, what we've done this time. We didn't wait for people to come, we went to them, right? To kind of give them the personal attention and answering questions, concern, we share our phone. I mean, it was really a great welcoming opportunity. So with that, I'm really open for any additional question, or the team actually from the consultant we have with us as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions of the applicant? Commissioner Leo.
Could you come back up? A little history. I was here when we approved the first one in Santa Ana. The city council overturned it. But what other services besides just religious services you provide? If I recall correctly, you did some food distribution. You did other stuff. You've embedded yourselves in the community, as far as I know. Could you talk about what other services you do? Because I know it brings other people. So if you could talk about the other services you do besides just the religious services.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the question, Commissioner Leo. I really appreciate it. And of course, the intent of any Coptic church, okay, let me go back to the history a little bit. So this is the first church that came to Orange County as a Coptic. You know, our first church that was established in California was in LA. There was a lot of people that actually was making it living here, traveling all the way to downtown LA, like actually by La Cienega side, if you're familiar, almost close to Beverly Hills. So thanks to the fathers and their wisdom and the Pope, actually they came and established this church 45 years ago. But to answer your question is a lot of the service, I know the fathers are here, they can speak way more, but I'll just give you a snippet of it. So outreach to disadvantaged community, right? Like homeless services. We go to the homeless themselves. We try to switch October 31st rather than being wild and crazy. And this is an area of Santa Ana. Of course, by the way, as us visiting, imagine I'm visiting you, right? With no appointment. I'm knocking on the door. There is dogs outside, right? Obviously, you can tell it's not an easy outreach effort, right? But it was done because of a great love. And actually, the neighbor opened the door to us. Once we hear it, tell you how kind of level of love and support. But along the same line on what type of services, right? Other services is we have food banks, right? Like we used to get a lot of donations on the food bank, but sometimes because the demand is so high in Santa Ana, rather than storing the food and then worry about the expiration date and all of this, we start choosing like gift cards and we go and team them with people to go. So that was one service. Another service is actually Bible studies too as well. A lot of things that the church is built upon is actually Jesus Christ and the message that he sent, the peace message and the community and the love and the care. And that's what we embed in our children. You're gonna see a lot of children here. Actually, we limited. I didn't intentionally ask for anybody to show up. And reason being because I wanted to show that God's hand, right, with this this particular application. So again, it's a church that anything you can think of, they do, really for the care of the community, right? So again, I really appreciate the comment and hopefully I answer your question too as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Leo. Commissioner Pham.
Just a passing comment. I frequent the Pan Bakery near the church, so I understand the activity that's going on.
We can smell it, I'm sure.
So I'm glad that you are expanding your parking, just because I've noticed that parking does spill out onto the side of the street, and it's a bit dangerous because sometimes I see people just crossing the street. Obviously, everyone's late for mass or something, and they were trying to go to church, but I think that's very helpful to kind of prevent that from happening by expanding your parking field. So I'm glad that that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Pham, for this. Actually, if you guys recall, 3 years ago or so, the governor had passed a mid-block. By the way, I'm an engineer by profession. I've been engineer for 36 years, from roadway, highways, and multi-residential, commercial, residential, and so forth. But anyway, the mid-block crossing became legal, right? And it's something we don't like, right? Because people do it now legally instead of being illegal. But a project like this, it does enhance that safety as well. Plus, any area that's non-ED compliant around that project, we're fixing as well, part of that project, which is amazing. So that's all. Thank you for the comment, appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Pham. Vice Chair Bellinger.
I'm sorry. Will you be planning any events in this parking lot, like a festival or celebration?
Usually in the parking, I'll tell you a recent event that we had, where we brought like some inflatables, right? So for the little kids, right? And we try to, we're all, as parents, we're familiar with how our kids are on the media most of the time, iPhone or on the TV or in games, right? So trying to divert their attention by creating these type of events, right? And we try to make it entertaining so they bond and listen to the message of Christ while they're there. So that's what this type of event had that goal in mind, right? How can I connect them to be a good citizens for not just Santa Ana, for the entire state of California? And a lot of them, either doctors, you'll be surprised. One of the dentists that came with me in the outreach, he couldn't make it because he had like in the office, a lot of dental work, right, for maybe patient. But just to your point, a lot of the effort that like this event is mainly gearing to connect the community together, right? Whether at all ages, at all levels, at maybe things that we see deficiencies from the community, like including drugs too as well. We bring like one event as an example. We bring a Santa Ana police officer actually that start talking about drugs and to the youth, right? And the ones that's vulnerable to this, right? So all kind of outreach. So again, I can speak for hours, but of course, thank you. Thank you for the comment too as well.
Well, I just asked that because I happen to be a member of a Catholic church, and our Catholic church has a yearly festival that we have to be watchful of the neighbors and what time it runs till. And fortunately able to move it off the parking lot, so it doesn't interfere with Sunday services.
Yeah, and a lot of time we do that too as well. Like if it's something we know it's big, we try to go on an off-site in an indoor closed, so also the noise is contained as well.
You mentioned food distribution. Were you at one time distributing food at the site?
We don't, like we serve like just snacks and foods like after liturgy, but if you're talking about cooking, like a professional weekly cooking, right, for example, that's not the intent usually. Could be at special event, a barbecue maybe outside or so, like fundraising event or so. That's maybe we start doing it like once or twice a year nowadays, right? So.
But you're not planning any events that are going to take half the parking lot in order to pull off?
Not have the parking. Like usually when we do taking some of the parking, we take it with the safety in mind, which means we secure an off-site parking and we try to transport with church vans to make sure that the safety is maintained, right? If we're taking it, and again, it's the reason if we do this usually, which is not the entire parking, is usually do it to make sure that the safety of the kids as they're walking around and someone trying to exit is maintained throughout the event itself. So, but great question.
Very good. I really appreciate it. I just want to say quickly that in September of last year, I took a tour of Egypt, went down Nile, but learned an awful lot about the Coptic Church, and that was very interesting to see the history of it and see St. Mary's Cathedral built on the ruins of the Tower of Babylon. Very interesting. I recommend for anybody here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Benninger. I think I'll just close out comments, just say thank you for the way you're serving our community, and also thank you to all the members of your congregation that joined tonight. I apologize that we took your item this late, but we appreciate you all being here. With that, the public hearing is now closed.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve?
Chair, I'm so sorry. Just to clarify, were there any additional?
I apologize.
public
Thank you.
comments?
The public hearing is not closed. We are going to check with the recording secretary to see if there are any members of the public that would like to speak. Thank you.
Chair, we have received a total of 5 emails in the form of public comments for this item before the 3:30 p.m. deadline, which has been distributed to the commission and posted online. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we have 4 speakers in-house and 1 in Zoom.
Thank you. I apologize for almost closing the public hearing prematurely. I'm going to go ahead and call names. I apologize in advance if I mispronounced your name. We'll start off with Youssef Tanyus.
Good evening. My name is Youssef Tanyus. My professional, I am engineer. I'm working for aerospace industry. I live like just 1 mile away from a church. I intentionally moved close to church because I love the church. I used to live in Rancho Cucamonga, like 40 miles away, but we used at that time to drive all the way to church because we love this church. But intentionally with the praise of our fathers, we got a home close to church. So we've been attending the Archangel Michael Church for almost 14 years, and I'm serving the young youth for almost 10 years, me and my wife. And hopefully my daughter, by next year, she will start serving with us. So I'm just highly recommend if you can accept this great project. I got the blessing to go with Mr. Bassem Barsoum to the neighborhood for almost like 12 of the neighborhood, and all of them shows their acceptance. So they are very thankful for having this project to be brought to church, so we can have like safe community, and also the landscape will be more beautiful. I believe also this can raise also the value of their homes as well as mine. So thank you for listening for us.
Thank you very much. Next up, I'll call Kathy Reyes.
Would you put up the picture?
Sorry, can we please have you speak into the microphone? And your time has
Hello?
started with 3 minutes.
Okay, could you put up the picture that showed, it was, I think, Gates Street? Anyway, it's a picture of my house, a brick wall, and I'm right next door to the church. And I moved there in 1979. And they didn't live there then, but they're the best neighbors. They've really been nice all these years. And they own the little house right next door to my house with the brick wall that's going to be demolished. And sometimes through all these years, sometimes people who went to their church lived in that house. Maybe they rented it. Sometimes it was maybe single mother. Sometimes it was single man. So for all these years, wonderful neighbors. And I think this is a wonderful thing they're going to be doing. I don't go to their church. I visited it once. It's so beautiful. But I know when I go to church, I have to find a parking space. It's really hard. And it's really going to be a really good thing for all of us. Yeah. And also the streets in our neighborhood are not that big. Like not even on Sunday, if there's neighbors parking across the street and people parking in front of my house, it's very hard for cars to go two ways. So it's a huge improvement. So thank you very much.
Thank you. George Reyes.
Well, my wife and I agree. So we've lived there for as long as the church has been there. We were there when the church was in a house and they had folding chairs in the backyard and held their service there. Basim has come over and he showed us the plans, asked for our input, said, what do you want? Because we'd like to help accommodate what our neighbors want. So I think it's a great project. I really hope you guys will vote for it.
Thank you. Rolf Vetter.
I'm Rolf Vetter. I live at 4322 Regent Drive, right next to the church. And I was surprised to not see any of my neighbors here. They're usually screaming about the church. But, 40 years ago, I told them they need to tear down those two houses and put their parking there, and they're finally doing it. So there's nobody against it. Everybody's for it. It's great. The church is great. I kind of disappointed that they have the fence there, the gates that close off the parking sometimes. But hopefully with this new parking lot, that's not going to happen, that they can have their festivities and stuff there instead of right next to us. But they're great neighbors, and it's awesome. They deserve everything, and I'm all for it, and doesn't look like anybody's against it, so don't you be against it either. Any questions?
Thank you for your comments, and to everyone else. We'll now go to our speaker on Zoom.
Erika Villagomez, we are ready.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I wanted to, be clear, and I'm here. I've lived on Lilac, and we've all seen throughout the years. I'm 38, so at least 30 years that I've lived there. The traffic spill into the streets, especially on the weekends. I'm not against it. I'm comfortable because it's happened in other areas, even with our, Catholic church that we go to. But I was more concerned about there being additional congestion because the area where those two houses are, they'll be exiting in onto Edinger Avenue. And it seems like in order for congregates or people that go to the church, they'll probably still end up parking on the street anyways, just for the convenience of being to get in and out as soon as, instead of being stuck in a parking lot. I also thought, well, it seems like, yes, like a nice addition to finally get rid of some of our congestion, but it's also getting rid of 2 homes in the area, and that might set a precedent to continue to do so. And being a very special neighborhood, really nice community with a residential area with homes that are like the little ranch style, little Texas type of homes. So that was my only other concern. Also, well, I don't know. I noticed that he did say that they weren't going to change any of the operations, but should they change them in the future with additional parking, would that be a reason for them to invite more people or more functions to the church or that area, or even, I don't know, I think a school back in the day had been proposed. I mean, there's already a school in the area. My children walk to school. I don't want extra congestion spilling out into that little neighborhood. Because like they said, like neighbor said, if there's cars parked on both sides, there's very little egress. And that is my stance on that.
Thank you. Are there any additional comments or questions for the applicant before I close the public hearing? Great. Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion on this matter?
I'll move.
Commissioner Wu,
I move.
do you move to approve?
Approve.
Thank you.
I second it.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Wu with a second from Vice Chair Benninger. Secretary, can you please call for a roll call vote?
Commissioner Escamilla?
Aye.
Commissioner Leo?
Aye.
Commissioner Oliva? Commissioner Pham?
Aye.
Commissioner Wu?
Aye.
Vice Chair Benninger?
Aye.
Chair Ramos?
Aye.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Oliva absent.
Thank you. Congratulations. With that, we are now going to move on to item number 1. I apologize for the inverse order, but it is officially your turn. This is the time and place for conditional use permit number 2026-08 for the property located at 2107 East 17th Street, Unit A, located within the Community Commercial C1 zoning district. Sorry, if I can just ask that we get some silence as you all walk out. Thank you so much. You may celebrate in the lobby and outside. Before we begin, do any commissioners have anything they wish to disclose with regard to this item? Great. Seeing as we have no disclosures, the case planner, Natalie Liu, will provide a brief presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Chair and Planning Commission. The project is conditional use permit 2026-08 for a Baja Fish Tacos eating establishment to be located at 2107 East 17th Street, Unit A. The request is for the approval of a conditional use permit to allow the sale of beer and wine for on-premises consumption through a Type 41 alcoholic beverage control license. Staff recommendation is to adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 2026-08 for the sale of beer and wine for on-premises consumption as conditioned. The site's general plan land use designation is general commercial and the zoning is community commercial. The surrounding land uses include a care facility to the north with commercial on the east, south, and west. The lot size is 0.85 acres and the building size is 5,005 square feet. Please note that the slide shows a vacant site, which was the most recent aerial image available. Currently, the site is being developed with a new commercial building. The property was previously developed with a commercial building with an established restaurant use. The building at one point was vacated and demolished in 2020. Since the demolition, the site remained vacant until early 2025. In January 2023, Development Project 2020-16 was approved, allowing the redevelopment of the site with a 5,005 square foot multi-tenant commercial building, 50 parking spaces, a trash enclosure, and landscaping. On March 25th, 2026, the applicant submitted a CUP application to allow the sale of beer and wine for on-premises consumption. Construction of the building, as well as tenant and site improvements, are nearing completion, with the opening of the restaurant anticipated in May or June 2026. The restaurant will be Baja Fish Tacos' second location, Santa Ana. Their existing location on South Bristol Street has operated in good standing with the city and ABC since 1996. Baja Fish Tacos will be occupying a 2,838 square foot unit space within the new 5,005 square foot commercial building. Their operational hours will be from 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. Please note that the sale of beer and wine for on-premises consumption is limited to 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. The eating establishment will accommodate up to 120 patrons in both the indoor dining and outdoor patio areas, and the storage and display of alcohol would be approximately 16 square feet, which is less than 5% of the gross floor area. Here is a site photo which was taken from the southern elevation along 17th Street with Baja Fish Tacos on the right side. Please note that this photo was of existing site conditions and the site is currently still under construction. Here is the site plan with north pointed towards the right side of the screen. Baja Fish Tacos will be occupying Unit A, which is outlined in red, and the outdoor seating is outlined in blue. Here is a floor plan of the proposed Baja Fish Tacos with the alcohol storage and display area highlighted in red. Please note in the legend, the alcoholic beverage storage and display will be a total of 16 square feet, which will not exceed 5% of the gross floor area. The proposed selection and location of the display area is consistent with the other Baja Fish Tacos locations. Here are the proposed elevations of the building as approved per Development Project 2020-16. The elevations shown are as viewed from the south and the east. The proposed sale of alcoholic beverages will serve as an ancillary component, allowing patrons to purchase beer and wine in conjunction with food service. This service will allow Baja Fish Tacos to remain economically viable and competitive with other eating establishments in the surrounding area. The proposed use is compatible with the surrounding commercial environment and consistent with development patterns along arterial corridors. The subject site is not located within immediate proximity to any parks, playgrounds, or schools. The police department has reviewed this request and has no concerns, as the operational standards applicable to any ABC license and the proposed conditions of approval will mitigate any potential impacts. Here is the map of active on-sale ABC licenses. There are currently a total of 7 on-sale ABC licenses within Census Tract 754.05. The requested CUP is consistent with the general plan land use designation of general commercial. The request supports land use element goals LU4 and policy LU 4.1 by promoting complementary uses and walkable, people-oriented environments. This request is also consistent with economic prosperity policy EP 3.11 by enhancing vibrancy and contributing to the city's identity as a dining and social destination. The proposed eating establishment with ancillary alcoholic service is compatible with surrounding uses and provides a convenient dining options for nearby residents. The project's location is also along an arterial corridor, which supports visibility, activity, and the area's role as a mixed-use commercial destination. In accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act and CEQA guidelines, the project is categorically exempt from further review per section 15301 for Class 1 existing facilities of the CEQA guidelines. Based on this analysis, a notice of exemption, environmental review number 2026-26, will be filed for this project, and there is no fiscal impact associated with this action. Staff recommendation is of the following: to adopt a resolution approving conditional use permit number 2026-08 for the sale of beer and wine for on-premises consumption as conditioned. This concludes the staff presentation. Staff is here along with the applicant, who are representing Baja Fish Tacos, to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the commission? Great. It seems like we have no questions for staff at this time. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Would the applicant like to speak on the matter?
Thank you for your time. Thank you, staff. Thank you, commissioners, chairs, vice chairs. We just want to say that we're very excited about this second location. My name is Arturo, by the way. I'm one of the operation managers at Baja Fish Tacos. We're very excited. This will be our second location in Santa Ana. Everything started in Santa Ana. We want to continue that way. And there's really not much to say than that.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for the applicant from the commission? Vice Chair Benninger.
I want to thank you for expanding into Santa Ana. I live by your facility on Bristol, and you do have one heck of a good crowd. And I know closing time comes, you guys close. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Escamilla.
Yeah, I just wanted to be saying that I am biased towards your food products. So yes, thank you for your fish tacos.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just say, like everyone else has said, thank you. I frequent the area a lot. I'm always at the gym there. So I'm happy to see another healthy food option. So just appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Great. With that, do we have any other questions or comments for the applicant? Okay. Thank you. Recording secretary, do we have any written communication? Or is there a member of the public that would like to comment on this item?
Chair, we have received a total of 1 email in the form of public comments for this item before the 3:30 p.m. deadline, which has been distributed to the commission and posted online. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this item, please fill out a request to speak form and turn it into the secretary. If you are participating via Zoom and would like to comment on this item, please select the hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. If you are calling in and would like to comment on this item, please dial 9 and then 6 to unmute yourself. I will wait a few seconds. Chair, we don't have any speakers.
Thank you. With that, the public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve this matter?
I motion that we approve this matter.
Thank you, Vice Chair Benninger. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla. We have a motion from Vice Chair Benninger and a second from Commissioner Escamilla. Secretary, can you please call for a roll call vote?
Commissioner Escamilla?
Aye.
Commissioner Leo?
Aye.
Commissioner Oliva? Commissioner Pham?
Aye.
Commissioner Wu?
Aye.
Vice Chair Benninger?
Aye.
Chair Ramos?
Aye.
Motion approved by majority vote with Commissioner Oliva absent.
Thank you. Congratulations. That concludes the business calendar. Moving on to staff comments.
None tonight, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the commission have any closing comments or questions for staff? Go ahead. I'll start off with Commissioner Wu.
This whole area used to be a Spanish land grant, right? And then became part of the Irvine Company. The point I'm getting to is that housing is changing, and our general plan used to reflect single-family housing and tract. And we have a lot of projects now that deals with apartment houses and townhomes and other combination. So the nature of what is Santa Ana is starting to change. So Executive Director Alley, I was just wondering, is there some advanced thought to that in term when we're updating our general plan and stuff that we could explain to the resident what you might want, you know, like people who want the old mansions, well, that's gone, you know. And you want to park next to your house, or you want this big lot, you know. We're a built-up city, and we're changing. There's a different kind of a renaissance. It may be not what I'm fortunate to be in a single-family house, and I'm going to hang on to it. But my children and grandchildren, they're searching for housing. They work at jobs where they need that option. I'm just afraid that sitting up here, we're going to hear these comments, and we're not really understanding the economics of what developers have to go through in terms of developing housing to meet needs. And you may be one kind of a developer, but you can't be this other kind of developer. And if you're not a nonprofit one that relies on governmental funding and subsidy, that allows different kind of structures in terms of the deal. Sitting there reviewing all these applications for loans and things, you know, I'm just thinking that sometime I want to say something to clarify something, but then I'm questioning and commenting rather than asking a question. Okay, so I was just wondering if there's a way of engaging a workshop about the changing nature of housing, what it means, and all that. And maybe we could have both. You know, we could preserve the integrity, but that might require maintaining your house, taking advantage of home rehab loans and that kind of nature to keep up, and you got to mow your lawn. And then there's another kind of housing, a neighborhood, you know, that is vertical. Yeah, and depending on the rental management, you know, they could be very good or they could be very poor, you know. And I guess you guys are on top of the inspection to kind of hold them down. It's just a thought, not a complaint.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. And I think your points and all of our community constituents' points are very well taken on this topic. Just a few meetings ago, the commission approved the Bella Terra subdivision, which was 12 new single-family homes, right? And tonight you saw probably like the polar opposite of that, which is 400, you know, rental units, right? But housing in Santa Ana has always come in a very traditionally diverse stock, whether it's the duplexes and single-family homes of Henninger Park, all the way up to the high-rise residentials at Hutton Center and the single-family homes that dominate Floral Park, let's say. But we have had the chance to re-engage in these conversations a little bit with the zoning code update. Through all the outreach meetings and workshops that we've had questions about this. And it's always helpful to point back to the 2022 general plan, which mostly reaffirmed that the vast majority of the single-family areas of the city would remain single-family, at least under local zoning. We can't help what the state legislature passes. And that the upzoning would be concentrated along the major corridors of the city. And what you saw earlier tonight with item number 3 is a prime example of that, that even before 2022, the city had designated Hutton Center as to be a sort of like, as described by the general plan, a lively mixed-use district. The housing element promotes a diversity of housing product types and ownership, rental, all that in goal number 2. And so you see that as just the routine business of this commission, but our staff routinely also engages in these conversations when we meet with our community.
And we're not alone. Other cities are facing this too. They're overbuilt, Westminster, Garden Grove, Costa Mesa, all our surrounding cities. So, but they're kind of looking in your direction to kind of take some hints of how to address it, so.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Vice Chair Benninger.
I'd just like to echo a bit off from what Commissioner Wu was talking about, that it may be worthwhile to have a work study session here with Mike Garcia and his group and Mr. Brown and talk about the changing of housing and what's happening in the city. Because I truly believe these developers are very smart and they look at things from financial, and if it pins out to build lease only, that's what they're going to end up building. So I think it'd be worthwhile to have a work session here in which we can discuss this and talk about our concern. Because I know the city's done things like help with first-time buyers, down payment, and very successful program. I think we're up to 30 people now that we've helped. And I think that's something we need to highlight, what we are doing to help with ownership, because I agree with Commissioner Leo. It does build community, and you want to do that. I just want to let everyone know here that on May 23rd at Eddie West Field, Orange County Soccer Club will be holding a game. We've been kicked out of the championship stadium because the U.S. soccer team is practicing there. But it's going to be a chance to see some very good semi-pro soccer. And since we hold 6,000 out at the championship stadium, there'll be plenty of tickets here because we're 10,000. But if you want to see some good soccer, Saturday night, May 23rd at Eddie West Field, and yours truly will be running the scoreboard in clock. So, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Benninger. Do we have any other comments from the commission? Commissioner Escamilla.
Yeah, just, I guess, wanted to thank staff, rest of the commission. This has been a great experience for me being on the commission. But wanted to give a little bit of heads up. So I will be moving out of state for a year for a program at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. So I'll be starting that in July. So I will be departing your presence fairly soon. But I think I have probably 1 to 2 more meetings left in me, maybe 1 only. Yeah, but just wanted to say that it's been really great working with each and every one of you. Very excited about the work that's happening, and now you'll just probably end up getting little emails from me every so often when I'm like, hey, we consider this on this item, please. But yeah, just really just enjoyed working with everybody, and yeah, look forward to having a little bit of a break from everything here, and I'll be back sometime next year.
Thank you, Commissioner Escamilla. I'll make very brief comments. I'll start off by saying thank you, Commissioner Escamilla, for your service and all of your contributions that you've made to the Planning Commission. You always make very particular comments, oftentimes ones that the rest of us might not think of. So thank you so much. Your service has been great, and we appreciate you. I also just wanted to quickly say Happy Mother's Day to any of our staff, members of the audience, anybody watching that not just holds the title, but plays the role. Thank you all. And also just want to remind everybody that there is an election happening on June 2nd. If you are able to vote, please vote however you wish. And just a reminder, if you have a vote by mail ballot, because some things have changed, it is not recommended that you mail that out by May 26th so that it arrives on time. So thank you all. With that, our next regular meeting will be on May 25th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. And this meeting is adjourned at 8:33. Thank you all.